Hi everyone, John here, and this is my Rust Bunny. This is a fuzz based directly on the Sam Ash Fuzzstainer Mark E that was traced by Jerms a few years ago. I've put a link to a blog post in the annotations that I really recommend you reading if you want to know the history of the tracing of the circuit. Very cool little fuzz, silicon transistors, not super picky about type. I just used plain old 5088s. It's got a bias trimmer that I moved externally and tinkered with a little bit to keep all the good settings and get rid of the ones that just cut out. It's still got some of the crazy and bad settings, but much more usable range than on the original. The tone stack's pretty good. It cuts treble as you turn it counterclockwise and cuts bass as you turn it clockwise, and lots of mids in the circuit in general, which is nice. The fuzz pot is just the input gain, same as rolling down your guitar's volume. And then the output section I just tinkered with a little bit to retain more volume. In the original you pretty much had to dime it to get to unity volume. Here is the bypass. I'm running through the lead channel on my amp with a fairly flat tone as usual. Here's the Rust Bunny on my favorite setting. I've got the bias set at about 10 o'clock, adds a little bit of gating and a little bit of percussiveness. Input gains about just below halfway, and the tones at just above halfway. Volume is at unity. Just to show, it does have some really classic sounds, a little bit more like a fuzz bass. I'm gonna roll the tone pretty far down, so it'll get a little bit more woolly. Sounds really good with reverb on this setting. I've got the input gain all the way up, and the bias on the quote-unquote best settings. So this is pretty much the smoothest sound you can get. Lots of sustain, not quite tone bender, but also kind of nice. Doesn't totally freak out with thirds. You can still get plenty of meanness, but and just to show the range of the tone knob, I'm gonna put it all the way up. It does get a lot louder in that setting. A lot more clarity up that high helps on the lower gain settings. range of the bias knob. This is at noon. A little bit more gating. All the way up. Starts to get kind of crunchy. One particularly neat thing about the gating is that it freaks out more the more you get. So if you play really softly, it sounds really crunchy, but you can get notes to come through. But then if you play hard, it's just really chaotic. It'll like cut out every once in a while, which is kind of weird. Some really trashy settings in it. Last thing I wanted to show, got a little compressor here. As a lot of people know, feeding a compressor into most vintage fuzzes does not create pleasing results. That's with the compressor on. That's with it off. It sounds the same. Really, really great thing about this fuzz. Doesn't need a buffer at all. Still cleans up. So yeah, that's one of my favorite things about this. I won't say this is my favorite fuzz, but I really like it a lot more the more I mess with it. There's a lot of sounds in it. Really great tone stack. Works really well with both channels of my amp. Just have to fiddle with the tone knob a little bit, but it works great with both channels. Works with other pedals in front of it. The bias settings are really cool. I've showed the layout. It's in my perf board library. There's also an etch mask. I'm getting a lot better about doing that for people who etch, and I really recommend building this one if you're into fuzzes and you're looking for something a little different, something really versatile, and something that can go in different places in your chain and sound and give you a lot of everything ranging from some really classic sounds to some kind of trashy bug zapper type sounds. As again, I recommend reading a blog post that talks about tracing the circuit and finding it, and it's the first time I've ever seen someone have to scrape the paint off a pedal to find out what it was. Really interesting blog post. And thanks to Jerms for tracing the circuit, obviously. So I hope you've enjoyed this demo. Thanks for watching.